Hey, Steph.
Hello, how's it
Welcome
going?
back. It's good. Welcome back to another episode of Bariatric Banter podcast.
I love it. I can't believe
Episode
we're almost at 30.
I know this is so incredible. Like episode 23, it's just wow, I can't believe it. And
Love it.
we've just been having some amazing conversations about the podcast lately, like about maybe going and doing a camping trip and inviting some
Mhm.
guests and recording. Steph and I are actually going to like plan a whole day where we just get together and do nothing but record episodes, and
Yep.
maybe we'll make some TikToks and stuff. But
Yeah.
we're really starting to kind of look at like how do we invest in this little podcast
Yeah.
to kinda keep it going, but it's been an incredible couple of months so far. It
No
honestly feels
kidding.
like we've done this forever.
Right? Having so much fun. It's been so good,
Honestly,
and
I
I've
love it.
like, we've said this before, it's obviously one of the reasons we're doing this is to try and hopefully help others, but I've just found for me too, like, it's been so beneficial personally for me just to talk about things, to vent about things, to be vulnerable, so I'm super happy with how things have gone so far. I'm really excited to
Me
keep
too.
going and see what else we, come up with along the way.
I agree, it's been really fun, and, like, even to the point where I've had so many, just random people tell me they love listening to the podcast and how open we are, but also my therapist was like, "Oh, you're just so open on your podcast about, your health and your wellness and your mental health and your
Yeah.
challenges," and I was like, "Oh, yeah? Didn't think that you listened, but, yep." So, it's just been great, and I think we talk about way more positives than negatives, which is also great because the surgery is way more positive than it is negative.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And today we're going to kind of have a little bit of fun with it because today we're going to talk about breaking the rules.
Mhm. Scandalous.
I know. Oh my God.
I
Quick, clutch your
love it.
pearls, gasp. Oh,
Right?
the
What?
humanity.
How
But
dare they?
we're going to talk about a hot button issue, but
Yep.
we're going to talk about breaking the rules, where we personally have broken the
Mhm,
rules and think it's fine to bend, and
mhm.
where we don't think it's okay to break the rules. And
Yeah.
this has come up because there has been an alarming amount of stuff
Oh
on
my gosh.
social
So
recently,
much.
including someone who got really mad because we called them out, and that's a whole thing. But there's been an alarming amount of social media posts, where everybody keeps saying the exact same thing. "Oh, well, I'm not good at following the rules."
Yeah.
"Oh, well, I'm not one that follows rules." And, literally, I've seen, like, 7 back-to-back TikToks where they all use the exact same wording. So, clearly, they're all watching each other or in the same communities, but they say it as if it's, like, totally fine, nonchalant, I don't have to do what I don't wanna do
Mhm.
because that's just me.
And that
Um
makes it okay.
and that makes it okay, and we're kinda seeing it spread as, like, a minor epidemic where it's almost as if because someone else said it, and then someone else said it, and then someone else said it,
Mhm.
you all think it's okay now, and
Yep.
there are definitely rules to be broken in bariatric surgery, hell yeah, but my large concern is the rules that these people on social are breaking. um, I don't feel safe encouraging that, because it's
No.
not the minor ones at all.
Exactly, and it's those people who are out there, like you said, with saying, "I'm not good with rules," so as if that makes it okay and that's an excuse and justification, and then the more other people are seeing that, the more they're thinking, "Well, if they're doing it, I can do it. They turned out fine. I'll
Yeah,
be fine."
and the
But
thing
just
is
because like, that's no, just
it's
because one
not.
person is okay doesn't mean your body will react the same way. It doesn't mean your
Ding, ding,
long-term
ding.
outcomes will be the same. And
No.
bottom line is, and it's the cliche saying, but how many times was I told this growing up? If your friends jumped off a bridge, would you? Like,
My mom said that all the time.
right? Like all the time, just because they did it. And I definitely say it
I
to
mean,
my kids too,
chances are I
but
probably would.
right? But it's becoming so much of the norm now. And it's just not okay. It's not okay, especially when there's such limited content out there, especially on the Canadian side, like we've talked about. And the people who are going to have this surgery, who are looking for advice and looking for help, if that's what they're seeing and that's what they're thinking is okay, and they haven't even really started the process yet, it's only going to get worse from there. You need to set up that strong foundation. And like you said, it's
Yeah,
becoming very alarming how
it's
many people are
alarming.
posting as though this is okay. And they're
And
so early on their journey
okay,
and
that's what I was gonna
already
say.
doing it.
That is exactly the point I was gonna bring up. It's not like you're watching people 10 years post-op who are like, "Yeah, I don't do this anymore." And I would argue if it is somebody who's 5 to 10 years post-op, well, they've determined how to make it work for their body. If you're a fresh baby surgeon, fresh out the OR, don't watch someone 10 years into the future because they got there by following healthy habits and now they can be a little bit more lax. But the people we're seeing on social are like a few months out of surgery,
Right.
and they're the ones being like, "I don't follow the rules. I've never been good with following the rules." Or they'll
So
say things like, I know a friend of a friend, or I know 2 people who don't take any of their vitamins and they're fine. Yeah, they're also 6 months post-op, like, please God. But I'm just
right.
noticing it's, like, trickling out of social and into other areas, and I'm so alarmed by the people saying things like, "Well, I didn't have surgery to not treat myself." Oh, bitch.
Right.
The reason you did have surgery is because you probably treated yourself too much, and I hate to
Mhm.
break it to you, you're not here to treat yourself. The world is
Right.
no longer about desserts and treats anymore, so
Right.
sorry. Or, well, I'm not good at following the rules, so it's totally fine. I just did something early. There's a reason, and it's
Yep.
not that you don't feel good or that you can't do it. It's that you have to start trying to follow rules because as obese
Yeah.
individuals, we didn't. And you're going to try to tell me, oh, I ate really good when I was overweight and I did follow the rules and but
No,
you
you
didn't. You
didn't.
were fat for a reason. But you can't look me in the eye and like if they tell you, okay, you need to not eat pork for 6 months. We'll rule out Steph accidentally eating it and not knowing it, which I did the same thing accidentally.
Yep.
I got a charcuterie. I thought it was turkey pepperettes. It wasn't, but I digress. If they say don't eat pork for 6 months, they don't mean eat pork when you think you can before 6 months
Yeah.
because it doesn't hurt your stomach. They're saying, can you follow a basic rule about
Right. And
eating?
there's a reason why these rules are in place. They're not just putting
Yes.
it there for fun. It has to
No.
do with, and depending on the rule, right? But there's rules that are put in place to allow your stomach to heal, to allow your incisions to
Yes.
heal, to make sure you're not ripping your staples out
Yeah.
because certain foods are significantly harder on your stomach to digest and your stomach needs time to
Yes.
build up enzymes. Like there's reasons behind this. And if
There's
you can't,
science behind this.
yeah, and the thing is, we are not, like you said, we are not good at following rules in the obese world, clearly, because otherwise we
Clearly.
wouldn't have ended up in the situation we're in. And
Yep.
we've talked about this before, how our program was a little bit longer than some of the other ones. And would it have been nice to have surgery 2 months down into the program and be done? Sure. But looking back, having that 11 months was so important because it
So
allowed me to
important.
work through a lot of the mental side of things, a lot of the why I ended up here,
Mhm.
but to start building those habits and start practicing putting those rules into place so
Yep.
that when it comes time for surgery, it's just the new norm.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we said, there's times where we'll talk about where we've broken the rules here and there, but generally speaking, those are one-offs. Those are mistakes. Those are moments where
Mistakes.
we've gone, okay, you know what? Yeah, shit, I caved. I shouldn't have done that, but I did it. It's
Yeah.
over. Let's start again.
Or like,
Versus, "Oh, it's fine. We'll just do it another time. Oh, it's
"Oh, yeah,
fine. We'll just
whatever,
do it."
it's
Like,
fine." And you
yeah,
raised a really great point, like, some of these are reasons that you don't know. So, like, let's go back to the
yeah,
pork one, right? You're not supposed to
yep,
have corn, pork, and red meat.
yeah,
I think that's for 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. I think you're supposed to wait 6
correct.
months to have
Yep,
that. Now, it's because those are super hard to digest on your stomach. Now,
yeah.
does that mean if you ate pork at 3 months, it's gonna hurt? Nope. You
No,
probably could. You probably could sit down and eat pork, and you would feel fine. Should you though? No,
no.
because it takes so long for your stomach to power through that what you're doing is generating way more acid, way more enzymes.
Mhm.
You're overworking. Think of it as if it was your heart. And that's what annoys me is people don't treat this seriously. If your doctor
Yeah,
said to you, "Stop eating red meat because it is making your heart work way harder than it needs to," most people would go, "Fuck, I'm not going to eat the red meat. The last thing I need is my heart working way harder than it should be."
right.
But when we say the same thing about our fucking stomachs, it's like, "Well, I
Oh,
ate
no
it
big
and I
deal.
feel fine." Yeah,
Yeah,
but do you know it's overworking and that your
right?
incisions internally take time to heal and you can get hernias and
Yeah.
I'm 2 years post-op and I can still fuck my stomach up if
Yep,
I'm not cautious. You can get gallstones. You can get severe acid reflux and GERD. And if you do develop that, you have to go have a revision surgery because you actually
yeah,
can't get rid of it. And like this can all happen by eating the wrong things, eating on the
yep,
wrong schedule, overeating. Like you can't reverse it once you get some of these things. And what ends up happening is you need to go for further surgery or something has to
Yeah.
be removed. Like the people who get gallstones after surgery,
Oh
oh my
gosh.
god, I'd rather have my arms torn off by wild animals. Like, it's apparently so painful.
Yeah.
Pancreatitis. If you develop pancreatitis, which is rare, happens more with people on Ozempic, actually, but if you develop pancreatitis and they have to remove your pancreas, you become a diabetic. Like
Yeah.
that there's no way around that. So, people seem to think, "Well, I ate it and I feel fine." There's so much more going on in your body than just, "I feel
Yeah.
fine
Just
and
because you
I
feel
ate it,"
fine doesn't mean things aren't happening internally that you can't see.
that you can't
And
see.
I know we've said before, like, yes, it's laparoscopic. Yes, it was a fair for us for sleeve, it was a fairly easy recovery. Yes, it
Sure.
was, at least for me, not nearly as scary or as big of a deal as I thought. However, it's still surgery and it's still changing your
Continue.
yeah, no, but I mean, for me at least, it wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it was gonna be, but it's still surgery. You're still changing your anatomy. We're still cutting things inside. There's staples, there's stitches, there's stuff to be aware of, especially then if you're having bypass. You are redoing your anatomy
Oh, yeah.
inside. So, aside from the food, I mean, there are reasons why, yeah, there's certain foods you can't eat because they don't want it getting caught in your staples or caught in your stitches. That's a
Yep,
big one as well that people
yep.
don't think about. That's why
Morons.
we're on fluids and then
Mhm.
purees for so long,
Yes.
is because you can get food stuck in there in those staples. And that's not
Yeah.
ideal. But even
You get
things like
inflammation.
taking it easy after. There's a reason why you're
Oh, good
supposed
one.
to take it easy. You're not supposed to lift. You're not supposed to bend because you have, again, on the outside, you're like, oh, I just have five tiny little incisions. I feel great. This doesn't hurt at all. But people forget what's going on internally.
Yes.
And that's where most of these rules come from is you have to
Yes.
think about the physical change to your anatomy internally and how much more healing has to happen inside than outside. Just because you feel great doesn't mean you don't have a huge line of staples down the side of your stomach
Correct.
inside.
And just
And
because I
yeah,
think, like, we focus on, like, the medical side, right? And there's gonna be people
yep,
who go, "Medically, I feel fine. You're full of shit. Get over it." Okay, great.
right,
You know what? Sure. For every rule, there is an exception. For every rule, there's someone who was totally fine, right? With breaking all the rules and still succeeded. Fine. The other side of the rules, though, is that you can't be trusted. The
right.
reason you are having this surgery is not because a fucking obese fairy flew into the window and hit you with her wand and said, "That you're fat now." Um, and as much as you want to pretend that you ate well and did like you again, you've heard us say it before, you don't get fat eating salad.
Yep,
So you can't trust yourself. And the other thing they're trying to establish is you get 1 year, and we call it the magic year for a reason, to
yep.
redo your habits, to basically build
Mhm.
discipline. And so,
Yeah,
while you might say, I feel great and I think it's fine that I'm going to start having pork and red meat in the fourth month instead of the sixth, or I don't want to wait that long for popcorn. I feel fine. I'm having it in the third month. I'm not making it to 6 months. It's fine. It's sitting well. Okay,
yeah.
cool. The reason is internal, don't get me wrong, but it's also because they need you to be able to stick to a habit. They need to say, you have to be able to say, I don't need to eat this. I don't need
Right.
this. I don't need treats. I don't need
Yep.
sweets. Like, you shouldn't be counting down to the end of a year to start binge eating donuts and shit again, right? Like,
Right.
there's a reason that they say don't have X amount of sugar per serving. And it's
Mhm.
it's alarming to see people go out 2, 3 months after having surgery and go, "Well, whatever, it sits well. I'm gonna go have an ice cream, or I'm gonna go have a full sugar coffee latte thing." Like,
Yeah.
okay, just because you can doesn't mean you're supposed to, though. They're trying to say over the course of a year, if you follow these rules, not only will it be better for your recovery, but you will now have built discipline and habits that
Mhm.
we expect to see you continue in year 2, 3, 4. Because I will tell you, it is a magic year. And around that 11-month mark, you're going to be hit with a fucking truck
Yeah.
called reality, where your
Yep.
weight loss completely slows down and you go back to being a normal functioning human, which is if you put the work in, maybe a pound a week. But you're
Yeah.
gone are the days of 5 to 6 pounds a week and rapid drop. Like, you have to put the work in. And when they
Yeah.
tell you you'll be back to normal and eating normally, they're not joking. There will
Yeah.
be a day where it's like a switch has been lifted and all of a sudden you can eat every single thing as much as you want. Now, I still like we still have restrictions. I can't eat over a certain serving size, but you're hungry more often
Right.
and you can definitely eat shit. So that's the other side of this coin that I want people to remember. I don't give a shit if you physically feel fine and you end up having 0 symptoms from breaking the rules. It's the
It's gonna catch up
discipline.
to you.
It's the discipline that you are cheating yourself out of,
Yeah.
because the magic first year is just a year, and 11 months goes by in the blink of an eye. Because
Yep.
remember, you don't lose for the full 11 months. You're gonna stall around 3 weeks, you're gonna stall around 3 months, you're gonna stall
Mhm.
around 6 months. Like, you're gonna have months where you probably don't lose anything in the first year too, and
Yep.
then, if I hear
And
one
that's
more
when you're gonna go
person
off the
say,
wagon,
yeah, and if one more person says, "Surgery didn't work for me,"
right?
bitch, I'll
Well,
tell you
and
why it
that's
didn't work.
yeah, and that's exactly how you're when you're gonna cheat yourself the most. So, like you said, there's gonna be stalls, and so when they say stalls, they typically say 2 to 3 weeks. I've had stalls that are 4 days, 6 days. That's kind of been my average, 4-ish to 6, which is still frustrating. But recently, I had my 8-month stall, and it was just shy of 3 weeks. And those are the most frustrating times because you're clearly in a calorie deficit. Now, this is assuming you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. In a calorie deficit, you're moving your body, you're exercising, you're hitting all of your goals. There's no logical reason why the scale shouldn't be moving. These are the times when you want to rip your hair out
Yeah.
and you sit there going, well, this is stupid. What's the point? And if you
Mhm.
haven't built those foundations in and those habits in, and if you don't understand the why and you don't have the discipline and the consistency, these are the times when you're going to fall off the wagon. And if you're already breaking the rules and if you're already into that cycle, this is the time when you are going to go way off the deep end. And as we know, having been in that obese mindset and that obese world, once we go down that rabbit hole,
Mhm.
it is so hard to
To
get
get
back out, and it is
back.
so hard to get
Yep.
back into that mindset because we so easily can flip that switch of, "Well, I deserve this," or
I
"I
see
need
it.
this," or "I can have a little bit more." "Oh,
I've
I just
lost
have a
so
little
much
bit more."
weight. This
Yeah,
isn't
or
gonna matter.
yeah, I've already ruined it, I might as well keep going. And we
Mhm.
know how hard it is to get out of those mindsets and to be successful. So
Exactly.
if you are already in a few weeks or a few months out and you're already down that I can break the rule rabbit hole, it is going to catch up with you
It does.
so
There's
fast, and it's so
yeah,
hard to get out of it.
there's a reason that there's such high regain. One thing I wanna say, and this is gonna be super controversial, and this is not meant to make anybody feel bad, but there's been a lot of posts as well coming out, a lot from the rule breakers and people looking for justification, that are things like, "I didn't lose 100 pounds in my first year." And the response is, "Yeah, because that's utter bullshit. Nobody's gonna lose 100 pounds in a year, and if they tell you they are, they're lying, and that's just not achievable. Like, I lost, 60 pounds, and that's good." Now, I'll preface, you will not hit your goal weight in your first year, unless your goal weight is to lose a minimal amount of weight. It
Yeah,
is, on average, takes people up to 3 years to hit their goal weight. And that's, pretty universal, and even your clinic would tell you, you won't hit your goal weight in your first year. Don't, and that's fine, that makes sense. This is a process that, if you look it up, actually does take between, 2 and 3 years to fully be where you want it to be. Cool.
right.
It's utter bullshit that people try to pretend like you can't lose 100 pounds in your first year. I have successfully lost it. Steph is, gonna successfully hit that. You haven't hit it yet, but you're close, right?
By
Like, I think
what, sorry?
100 pounds in your first year?
Oh, yeah, I'm over. I'm at 109.7 as of this
There we
morning.
go. There we go. So, yeah, I easily
Yep,
lost over 100 pounds in my first year. Now,
yep.
again, depends on what your starting weight is. Like,
Right.
I had a lot of weight to lose. I'm at
Same.
160 pounds lost, but 100 of those, I think 100 I wanna say maybe 20 was in my first year,
Yep.
and it depends on your starting weight. Now,
Right.
I followed we'll get into what we followed and what we didn't follow, because we broke the rules. I wanna be really clear. We break the
Mhm.
rules, but we're gonna talk about the rules that are meant to be bent and the rules that, like, okay, your choice. But
Yeah.
people are trying to justify, only losing 40 or 50 pounds. And I want to stress that's a huge amount of weight to lose. And I am not trying to make
For
you feel bad
sure.
at all. And there are some people who lose slow, and that is
Yep.
okay. But the
Yep.
people I'm trying to mention are the ones that are breaking the rules and thinking it's
Mhm.
okay and treating themselves and ba, 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 and then have the nerve to say, I only lost 60 pounds in a year, and then try to justify it by saying anyone who's lost more than that is lying. No, it
Right.
is 100% possible to lose
Yeah.
100 or more pounds in your first year. I
You just
exercised like
Yeah.
crazy. I
Yep.
followed the rules
Yep.
that there were some
You
that I
just do
bent.
what you're supposed to do. It's
I
not
did
rocket
what I was
science.
no, I did what I was supposed to do, and
Yep.
I lost what I was supposed to lose. Now,
Yeah.
some people lose fast and slow,
Yep.
but if you follow the rules, you're mainly gonna be successful. Now, there will be people out there going, "Fuck you, Hannah. I followed the fucking rules and I didn't lose all of that." And I'm sure that does happen rarely,
There's
rarely, but
anomalies. Yeah, for sure.
I would challenge you to really look at yourself and say, "You sure you
Did
weren't
you?
having some snacks and some
Yeah.
sugar? Were you following the fat and the sugar and the calorie counting? Were you
Yep.
exercising?" Because that's the other one. We should even we're
We
not
should do a
even just
whole
talking about food.
No,
The
no.
amount of fucking people, and Steph, you can call me out on this because you should. The amount of fucking people that don't follow the goddamn exercise guidelines and rules blows my mind. Like, you need to exercise every
Insane,
day. And now
Hannah.
that doesn't mean run or weight lift or do all that stuff, but
Yep.
they say strength training 3 times a week minimum,
Massive.
and
Massive.
then try to walk or do something every day. And it's only for 30 minutes. They're not out here saying you need to do 17
No.
hours.
It
They
makes
would
me
like you to
so
walk.
it makes me so angry when people and you could. Yes, you could have this surgery, do no exercise, and lose weight, as we've said.
Sure.
So a couple points. First point, people who say, the surgery didn't work, I followed the rules, da da da. It's not rocket science, guys. It's like anything. You follow the rules, you do what you're supposed to do, it works. Like in school, you do your homework, you study, you get decent grades.
Yep.
If you do what they tell you, they would not do this surgery s- for so long and so many of them if it didn't work. So, number one.
Exactly.
Number two, on the movement side, no, do I like exercising? No. Have I ever liked it? No. I get up at 4:45 every day to do my exercises now. Do I enjoy it? Nope. Do I do it because it's fun? No. I do it because I need to be consistent, because I know that if I don't do it, I'm going to pay the price for it, and because my doctor told me to.
Yep.
And because at the end of the day, I feel better after I do it. I feel like crap if I don't. But you could have the surgery, not exercise, say I don't like exercise, I can't exercise, and lose weight,
Sure.
sure. But is it good for your lean muscle mass? Lean body mass?
No.
No. Is it good for your joints? No. Is it good for your bones? No. Is it
Nope.
good for your loose skin? No. Is it good there's a reason why they tell you to do it. And what makes me so frustrated sometimes, and I used to say this when I was obese too, is I can't exercise. I can't do that. I'm too big for that. My body hurts too much for that. When we talk about movement and exercise, we're not talking about 60-minute hit high intensity cardio or running
No.
or this. We're
If
talking
anything,
about
makes me jump.
20, yeah, yeah, 20 to 30 minutes of movement. And if for you that means you're starting sitting in a chair, doing some exercises with an exercise band, cool.
Sure.
If that means you're starting with chair yoga or bed yoga, cool.
Yep.
But you have to do something and then work your way up. And there's so many programs out there that can be modified. I have been working out for consistently for 2 years.
Yep.
More consistently now since surgery in the last little while. But do I modify all the
Oh my
damn
god, I
time?
do. I just
All
had
the
to
time.
modify my leg workout
I
because I was like,
modified half my
I
workout
can't
this
do these
morning.
lunges." Yeah,
No,
and I'm
half my
paying
workout
the
this
price.
morning. Oh my gosh.
My
It's
ass
and
hurts.
Right? And, the one trainer that I'm using now on my app, I love, and he always says too, he goes, "You should be modifying because you
Yes.
should be working yourself to the point of failure for the program I'm doing," right? So, he goes, "If you're not modifying, you're not doing something right because you should be pushing yourself and working." But I
Yes.
modify every program I do because my knees aren't so great, or I'm really sore from the next day, or I just physically cannot hold my body in that position yet. And that's fine. So
Yes.
all of this, oh, I don't have to exercise, I can't exercise, is total utter
Bullshit.
bullshit. I'm
Total
sorry.
bullshit.
there is some form of movement out there that you can do. And like I said, there's things like bed yoga, which 100% you can do that. I keep a pair, so I have all my exercise stuff downstairs, and then in my office upstairs, I work from home. I have a set of exercise bands on my desk. And if I'm on a call where I don't have to be on camera for a client, or if I'm listening to a meeting or something, I can pull out those bands. I can do some resistance work with my upper body or my legs while I'm on a call. There's always something you can do.
Walking
So this,
pads under your desk,
yeah,
and the thing
this
is, it's
whole
not
thing is, oh, it drives me nuts.
30 minutes consistently either. It's not like they said you need to
No,
go and start and fit like, if throughout the day you go, "Yeah, I went for 3 10-minute walks." Great, there's your 30 minutes, you're
perfect.
done. Like, and the other
Yeah,
thing is, like, okay, you don't go one day, that's fine, but you're like, "Oh, well, I'm going on, like, a 10K hike." Okay, yeah, you can add your minutes for the full week here, folks. You don't have to be like, "Oh, it has to be 30 minutes start to finish every day." Like, they're
yeah,
basically saying add 30 minutes to every day. Whatever that is for the week is how much movement we want you doing in the week. And it's not intense and high. It's literally walk, go walk. Now, yeah,
yeah.
she's right. You don't have to do it and you could be fine, but it will catch up with you. And you can see it in influencers who are years out. There's a really famous one that you and I follow, and she recently had to admit she wasn't working out and it all caught up with her and she started gaining weight. So she had to start working out again.
Yeah,
But it's important. One big rule, and I broke this, and Steph has been holding me very accountable, is you need to strength train. And I kind of
yeah,
thought, I don't give a fuck. I run, I'm really healthy, I'm
yeah,
losing weight, who cares? Again, it was one of those rules where I wasn't seeing the impact in my body, but you
yeah.
need to strength train because your loose skin is huge and muscle wasting is a major issue when you lose this
Oh
much
my
weight.
gosh.
I've ignored it to
Mhm.
a point where I shouldn't have, and it was my physiotherapist who said, "You know why you're getting such terrible chest and back pain when you're running? You have no muscle up there. Like,
Yeah.
you need to start lifting weight because you're holding your arms for an hour and a half while you're doing a 10K and you like excruciating collarbone and
Your
back
lean
shoulder
body
pain."
mass your lean body mass goes down drastically with rapid weight loss, and when I do my
Yep.
measurements, I kept seeing all my measurements were all everything was going down really well, and then I would get to the bottom of the list, and there'd be this other drop, and I was like, "What is this?" And yeah, it was my lean body mass kept
Yeah.
dropping and dropping
And
and dropping.
I'm doing the program Steph's doing, which is dope as hell, might I add. So I'll share it more on my Instagram later. We're not endorsing it or anything. We're just saying we do the same one. But I
Yep.
just did a leg workout 2 days ago. And I haven't done it in a while, but I felt great. Super heavy weights because I felt full of myself. And here we go. Squatting, lunging, lunging, squatting. I could not move yesterday. Like, I could not lower myself down to
Yep.
the toilet. I was in so much excruciating pain on the couch that I couldn't walk the dog. And I this is why I was like, if I was more consistent and I was
Mhm.
maybe modifying exercises and doing things smartly, I wouldn't be suffering this major blowout now for 2 days of
Right.
excruciating muscle pain from doing the workout. And that's what consistency does. If you fall off, so for example, I had to take a break from running because I started to have knee pain, which, it's a thing, it happens.
Yep.
And now I'm back into running. Do you think I'm gonna go out and run a 10K? Nope, I'm back to run walking. I'm gonna run for a minute,
Yeah.
walk for 30, run. And people were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Well, that's how I consistently get back to where I was
Right.
before, because I haven't been consistent these last couple of months because I'm recovering from pneumonia and I have a knee injury." So
Yep.
it is just about finding your groove and doing it. Steph, I wanna ask you quickly,
Yep.
what are the rules that you will bend?
So I took a while for this one. I don't know why I was so afraid of it, but I use a straw, which is a
Okay,
no-no.
so do I.
Um, yep, I was a big straw user before surgery, and I was really worried about not using a straw post-surgery, so I didn't for a while leading up to surgery, and then I didn't for a while after. I was just really paranoid about the pain and getting the extra air in there.
Mhm,
But now I use a straw. I drink carbonated beverages,
so
which
do
are
I.
typically not recommended. Hannah will be pleased to know that I have been drinking caffeine for the last 4 days.
Yay, welcome to the fucking dark
I
side.
am back on coffee, protein coffee, we'll say,
Okay.
but I went from drinking 2 coffees a day pre-surgery, then I went to decaf, and then I would do half calf a couple days a week, but mainly decaf, but now I am back to the full-fledged caffeine. That's when I
Welcome.
break. I don't break the sugar one really too much. There's
Me
been
either.
times when I know, like, Easter, I maybe had a couple more candies than I should have. But again, that's one of those moments, like I said, where, okay, yeah, we were getting Easter stuff together. And I may have had a couple candies. Did I have a whole bag? No. Did I have
Nope.
3 or 4? Yeah. Was I
Good.
trying to tell myself to not have any? Of course. But you know what? I had my 3 candies, move on. Am I gonna have any more? Nope, the bag's gone. It is what it is. So there's moments like that. But really, my big ones are, I didn't cheat on the red meat, only because I'm not a big red meat
Me
eater also,
either.
which
Honestly, it
helped.
normally
Y
made me ill
Yeah,
before surgery,
yeah,
so
it always sat heavy with me in general.
yep,
But my big ones are, I use a straw, I drink caffeine again now, I drink
yes.
carbonated beverages. Um, I'd say those are probably biggest
Bends.
my biggest bends.
Okay.
And again, these are all things that I waited a while for. I
Yep,
tested it out. I
yep,
gave it a little bit of time. I
yep.
tried carbonated drinks. I remember I tried a carbonated drink and it did not go well.
No.
So I
No, it
took a
did not.
couple sips. It was really bad. I put it
Yeah.
away. I waited another 6 weeks and then I tried it
Oh, I
again.
just and it
So
yeah.
that's kind of the other thing, right? Is tr- I tried it. It didn't work. Okay, cool. Not ready
Oh,
for it. My body says no. Leave it alone.
yep, and the reason for carbonated, don't do it early. Stuff is far enough out to test it. I waited a year to test it. It's that it just fills your stomach very quickly, so you're not gonna eat
Yeah.
as much, and it can lead to a lot of irritation, but
Yeah.
I will echo Steph. I do use a straw.
Yep.
I waited an appropriate amount of time to start using a straw. It was definitely not right out of surgery,
No.
but I drink more with a straw, and that's a
Me
good
too.
thing because I
Yep.
wasn't hitting hydration.
Yep.
So I use a straw. The reason they want you to wait is that you can intake too much air, it can cause
Mhm.
bloating and pain, and you can overdrink quickly. So in your first
Yes, you
6
can
months,
gulp.
I do not recommend you use it because you'll gulp and like the pain
It'll
that I was
hurt.
in, it's
It'll
not
hurt.
worth it. Wait,
No.
but straws I'm fine with. They're not
Yep.
gonna ruin or break
The
your
other
surgery.
the other rule that I break that I just thought of now because 'cause I'm looking at my protein coffee is protein shakes.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah,
and this
fuck
is
that. I do
where
protein shakes, yeah.
Yeah, this is where again, like, programs will vary too,
Yeah.
because a friend of mine had bypass and her immediate post-surgery recovery plan and liquid plan from her program was protein shakes, whereas
Which I was so mad about.
our program says definitely not, like, they are emergency situations only. I
Only.
drink a protein shake a day. Same with,
Yeah.
like, protein bars. They don't like protein bars, I will eat
Oh,
protein bars.
I eat
Um
a Built Bar a day because that is my
yeah.
goddamn dessert.
100%. So that's something that I'm sorry, I understand there may be people who rely very heavily on the protein shakes and then aren't getting their
Well,
nutrients in.
that's the
However,
thing.
yeah, I track my food, I know what I'm eating, I'm gonna have my damn protein shake and
And I
call it a
that's the
day.
thing, I eat it as a treat. My
Yep,
protein bar is a dessert. Now the reason they don't want you having in our program drinks and bars is they want you getting it from real food. So I
yep,
can confidently say 2 years post-op, I have a very good relationship with food. I have
yep,
so much real food in my diet that I treat the Built Bar as my dessert at night, and a
yes,
protein coffee is just something I have on the side. The protein
yep,
coffee no longer replaces breakfast or replaces a meal for me.
exactly.
It is in part of my full diet count. If
Mhm.
you are replacing meals with supplement stuff like bars and shakes,
Then we
no.
have a problem.
That's the
Yeah,
rule not to break. It should not be replacing meals for you. It should
yep,
be in addition to get to your protein goal, but you have to get to a world where you can get the bulk of your protein from real food. So
and that's
that's
why, like
how
we say,
that's
tracking is important because I
tracking.
know at the end of the day, I've had this whole food, this whole food, this whole food, and I can look and say, "Yep, all I had today that wasn't whole food was my protein coffee.
Yep.
I'm cool." Or, "You know what?
But it was
Crap,
an
you know."
addition. It was an addition to
Yeah,
meals. It was not
exactly.
replacing your meals.
Exactly.
So
Or
that's
there's a
the rule to bend.
yeah, there's a day when I'll look and say, "Okay, Steph, you had a really busy day on the road, so you had a protein coffee, and then you had a Built Bar, and then you had another, we'll say, fake processed protein.
Yeah.
Maybe now we need to really up the veggies and
Reset.
the chicken or whatever for the rest of the day."
And I've
Which
been
also
there. I've
yeah,
had the
it
chips, I've
happens.
had the
It
bars, I've had
happens.
like it's so easy to go buy protein stuff and think it's
Yes.
really great, but you have to check yourself. I used to have a rule, no more than 1,
Yep.
but now I allow 2 because I like to have my protein coffee. So
Yeah.
I don't count the protein coffee, but no more than 1. So in a day, I'm not gonna have a bar and a bag of protein chips
Yep.
and a protein coffee, like, no. Now I'm
Yep.
getting into an area that's not okay for my development and what I'm doing. So I will
Exactly.
bend on the straw. I use
Yep.
them. Carbonated beverages because it
Mhm.
works, and again, it gets my hydration in. What else do I bend on? I'll be fully just like fully transparent. I ate dill pickles in my pre-surgery with the diet. I cracked and there were 2 days
Yep.
where I had dill pickles. I will not bend on sugar. So 10 grams of sugar or less per serving. I have upped that to 13 just
Yeah.
because there's some things I like that are 11, but I don't go past that. I'm not making this
Right.
a slippery slope.
Mhm.
I will not bend on that sugar rule because it's so
Mhm.
addictive. It leads to binging. It's not great. I don't bend on that. The fat rule is one that I bend on, and this is, controversial to some people. There is some updates to the program that were not in mine when I went through it that says something like 4 or 5 grams of fat per serving.
Yeah.
My rule is that I would like my fat per serving to be 10% or less. So I
Yep.
look at kind of the overall percentage of fat in my meal, and I
Yep.
want that to be as close to a single digit as possible, as in like, "Oh,
Yes.
9.6% fat in this meal. Great. I
Yeah,
love
because
that."
there were things we looked at, like, was it I can't remember off the top of my head, but maybe it was eggs. It was something where
Something.
you couldn't even have that food, and we're like, "But
No,
it's a healthy, good for you food." So
avocado. Like, you couldn't have
yeah,
avocado. Like,
yeah, right?
so that one I bend on, and I know,
Yep,
an egg, for example, and one like an egg, yeah, you could be over with an egg, which is insane.
yeah.
Like,
So,
1
like,
egg
there's
is
things
5 grams. So you're
yeah,
just gonna have an egg, that's gonna be your whole meal, 1 egg.
right?
So
Yeah,
that one
take
I
it with a
bend
grain of
on.
salt for
Yeah,
certain
that one
things.
slightly, but you have to, if you're gonna bend on some rules, you have to look at, like, "Well, what am I doing?" So I didn't just go, "Oh, well, eat whatever fat you wanna eat." No, I
Yep.
said, "I am setting a rule that's a little bit more attainable, but still in the spirit of what it is we're looking for, which is my total percentage per serving." The big thing to look at is your overall day. As long as my overall day
Mhm.
balances, then I'm fine with
You're
that.
good.
And as you get a little bit further out from surgery, it depends on like as a runner or what you're doing, some people just need a bit more fat allowance, which
Yep,
is fine. So I
yeah.
bend slightly on the fat. I do not bend on calorie counting. I do not bend on sugar. I do
Mhm.
not bend on exercise. That is a part of my life now that I've committed to and will follow. I
Yep.
do not bend on vitamins. I think it's fucking ludicrous to hear people say that they don't take their vitamins.
Yep.
Where I will bend on vitamins is I work with my doctor, not the clinic anymore, to pick the vitamins that are best for me. The clinic
Yeah.
does a kind of spray and pray all in one. This is what we think would be best. Steph and I have learned through this journey, it is not unique enough to each body, and some of the recommendations actually don't make any sense. So my
Mhm.
doctor and I are picking my lifelong vitamin journey together, and that makes more sense for me. That's the slight bend in that rule, but I will never not be taking my vitamins. That is a commitment for life that I will do.
Yep.
Um, those are, yeah, I think those are the biggies. Oh, desserts. Okay. Yeah. I absolutely think it's okay to have desserts, but they fall within my sugar range. So it is
Right.
okay for me to have a donut or cake or something if it falls within my 10 grams of sugar or less. And I've been
Yep.
that person out with friends where they've been like, let's have it. And I go, I need to know how much sugar's in it. And it's come back at like 26 grams of sugar. And I go, no, sorry, I can't have that. Like, and
Yeah,
I
exactly.
won't budge on that, but I will
Mhm.
have desserts. I will have
Yep.
treats.
Yep.
But it's like healthy treats
Moderation
now.
and
Yeah.
moderation.
Yep.
Moderation, right? Yeah,
It's
we've
great.
talked about that too,
So,
where, like, I have 1 instead of a bag. It's
yes,
just
I have
having
my popcorn
limits.
instead of buying kernels, like,
Exactly.
I
Yep.
bring stuff to the movie theaters instead of I'll bring a Built Bar. Okay, I did buy some kernels because I have found that the small in the flavor I like is actually fairly low calorie and low fat, and I was like,
Yep.
"Ooh." So I brought a little Ziploc bag of kernels and a brownie puff Built Bar to How to Train Your Dragon this week, and, like, that
Yep.
was my treat, and I was so
Right.
happy about it. So there are areas, but I just as we wrap this up, wanna caution people, you're bending in areas that really worry us. You should be following the rules of your clinic
Mhm.
to a T for a reason. You should be exercising. You should not be having over 10 grams of like, I if you're gonna
Yeah.
bend, bend in moderation. Like, for example, okay, 11 to 13 grams, sure, because 'cause you'll probably balance it out in the rest of your day. Eating fruit, I bend on that. I eat fruit. You should eat fruit.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird that you don't eat fruit. It's so fucking weird that there are pockets of the
Right?
bariatric community saying fruit's bad. I don't count fruit towards my sugar because it's naturally occurring fruit sugar. Now, that doesn't mean
I
I
don't
go out and eat
yes.
7 apples and a goddamn banana every day, but eat fruit, please. Just eat the
Yep.
fruit. It's weird people
Yep.
don't eat fruit. Um, I keep an eye on my carbs. I don't bend on that one, but that's my personal one. If
Mhm.
people wanna bend on that one, like, I know runners, bariatric runners who eat way more carbs than they do, um, protein because they need the source for running. Yeah, do that
Yeah.
with your dietitian. That makes sense. We just wanted to caution that we're worried about people so early in their journey that we're seeing on TikTok, um, saying that it's totally okay to not take vitamins because they know 2 people who don't, to say it's
Yep.
totally okay to, drink 32 grams of sugar in a coffee in the morning, to say it's totally fine to be drinking Diet Cokes and eating Doritos and count that as a lunch,
Yep.
because they're losing weight and it's fine.
Right.
Be cautious, it's gonna catch up with you. That's just our advice, it will catch up with you, and there's a reason there's rules. They're not
Mhm.
always just physical symptoms you'll feel, it's like the mental side of doing this,
Yep.
and the ones that, like, I would just say I think you should always follow through on. I think everyone in the bariatric program should have a therapist, at
Yep.
least for a minimum of a year. I would say 2. I think you need mental health, just support while you go through this because
Yeah.
your body's about to change. I think you need to count calories. I won't budge on that one. You need to be
Yep.
doing it. And, I don't think you should be breaking the rules in your first year. I think if you wanna
Agreed.
start bending the rules, at least wait till you're 8 months post-op before you start bending some of the rules, including the straw
Totally.
one and the carbonated beverage one, because you have to prove to yourself that you can commit to following the rules and that you can actually do this. It's
Yeah.
not until you can prove that you've done it and you trust yourself that you should be making modifications because you need to show discipline, at
Right.
least for the first 8 months. Then you can
Big
start
time.
going, "I trust myself to have a straw. I trust myself to have
Yep.
12 grams of sugar instead of 10."
Yeah.
That's my
Totally
advice.
agree.
That's what I end my advice on.
Yep. Build the foundations. Bottom line is they're there for a reason. If you
Yep,
aren't going to follow the rules, the majority of the rules, then don't want to hear you complain about it later. I don't want to hear it didn't work. I don't
yep.
want the woe is me. And
I'm losing
don't,
slowly and
yeah. And at the end of the day, please don't encourage other people to break the rules as well. Let
no,
them
please
make
don't.
the choice for themselves.
Yep,
Just because you want to do it doesn't mean it's
no.
okay for
Don't
others.
brag about it. Don't like, you don't see
No.
Steph and I talking about what we bend and modify, except for this episode right now because we thought it was important, but I'm
And
not
because
out
they're
here telling
minor.
people. Yeah, and I don't tell people, "Go have 15 grams of sugar." The
Right.
one thing I will tell people is please eat fruit. It is so important in your life,
Yes.
because that one blows my
Fiber.
mind. And exercise. Please exercise. You didn't have the
Move your body,
surgery to
guys.
not exercise.
Yeah. This is a big deal. So don't throw it out the window. And as we've said, this is not a magic pill. You got to put in the effort. There's
Yeah.
rules for a reason. And if you follow the rules and you stay consistent, it's going to work. It's not easy. By no means are we saying that following the rules is
No, this is
easy and a walk in the
hard.
park, but they're there for a reason. And if you do it and if you stay consistent, you will be successful, period.
Yes. Give
Yep.
yourself time to trust yourself because you can't be breaking stuff months into this journey.
Yeah.
It will backfire down the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
Well, like always, Steph, thanks for joining me on this episode.
Thanks, Hannah. Love it. I'm going to go use my straw and drink my protein shake.
I'm gonna go drink a carbonated beverage.
Oh, love it.
Oh, man, we'll see
Rebels.
you guys next week. Thank you for being the best
Bye,
listeners in the
guys.
world. We love you all so much. Have a great week.
See ya.
Yep.